up to Ubon, which is super far away. It's on the border in the east, but it's pretty much the same distance as driving all the way to the north to Chiang Mai. It's very, very far. But we spent a couple days up there. We did a lot of filming for the Muay Thai library, which was really wonderful. I had so much fun. And on the way back down, we were able to film more for the Muay Thai library. Got a bunch of sessions, which was really great. Variety, great people. Really excited about all of them. And our last stop on the way home is Chatchai new gym. It's called Thai Payak, and it's still in Lamnammoon, so it's pretty close to where his old one was if you've been there before. It's not in a different city, it's just in a different location. And it's still really close to like Samart Payakaroon's gym. So my friend Emma, who I talk about a lot because she's wonderful, she moved to Europe. She's doing a graduate program, but she's going to come back to Thailand next month, and so she's going to be training at Samart's. And then when she saw Chatchai's gym, she's like, shit, that's really close and it looks awesome, I'll just train in both. So that's kind of amazing. But one, I haven't seen Chatchai in a really long time. I adore Chatchai. I think he is the greatest teacher. He's just so keen, and he has such a nice energy about him. Kevin was asking me what it is that's so nice about it, because he can see when I'm learning from him, I don't have this like anxiety thing that I have in many other situations. And he's like, what is it that's so calming to you, like that he speaks to you in such a different way from everyone else? And it comes off as like kind of a like Buddhist lesson or something, but it's true, is that he has a detachment to the outcome of what he's teaching you. He actually cares a lot about what it is that he's teaching you. He cares about the techniques, but he has this nice detachment from whether you like it or not. So he celebrates that you feel something. So like if you're doing something and you're doing it wrong and then suddenly it clicks and you feel it, he's like, that's it. And you're like, yes, I can feel that. And it's like, that's great for both of you, but then you just move on. And if you're not doing it correctly, he never gets frustrated. He never even really tells you you're doing it wrong. He just keeps kind of guiding you towards the right way to do it. And so what it actually kind of feels like, I think, because he's so neutral. Hi, honey. Because he's so neutral, it's actually like you're exploring the technique together, even though he has a lot of answer keys. Like he understands to like put your elbow a certain way, and so he's like, it feels a little bit like this, but then you have to actually feel it. Like you have to actually guide your way to it and feel it. But you're exploring that together, and that feels really, really nice. It's like a someone not guiding you in the sense of like, I know this way, and so I'm going to show you the correct path and like watch your step here. It's not like that. He's like a Sherpa or something who knows the way, and so he's very, very comfortable and calm. And he's not even like warning you about anything. He's just exploring it with you in this kind of like guided, taking care way that feels really, really nice. So you don't over celebrate the things that work well, and you never feel bad about it not working, which for me is very, very helpful and feels very nice. But something that made me really happy is that his partner for this new gym actually went to Chatchai, like discovered Chatchai through my videos of training with Chatchai. So that's amazing that they now have this partnership of opening this gym together, and the relationship that they have with each other is really incredible. And that grew out of exactly what the point of the Muay Thai library is, which is that you see someone in there and you're like, oh my God, that's incredible, I want to train with them. Like, we're trying to preserve technique and preserve the legacy, and really we're trying to archive these men, like their actual personalities. That's part of why the long form is something I appreciate about the Muay Thai library, and I insist on, is that you really see what these guys are like in the long form, rather than like clipping it up and being like, and now learn the hook. You know, like it's not really like that. But I love that people are coming to Thailand and they're like, I want to train with Sagat, or they want to see Dieselmoy, or they're like, where is Karahat? I'm excited about this. This is the point. I want people to want to train with these legends, rather than like, I got the gist of it, or I can like collect the I can collect the weapons from this one and that one and create a thing. Like, yeah, you can, that's great. If you can't make it to Thailand, second best thing absolutely is watching the library. But if you can make it to Thailand, definitely train with these guys. And when I got home, I've been going through these old Muay Thai magazines, and I actually now have a number of other magazines that are coming to me too. So there's like Fighter, Muay Thai, Yod Muay Ek. Like, there's a lot of publications that have been going on for a very, very long time, and I'm buying them and going through them. And I was a research assistant for all 4 years of college. I worked for my advisor, Karen Rader, who, she's a science history writer. So she'd written a book on like the history of mice in science, which came out while I was working for her, but I didn't help her on that book. The book I was helping her on was about museums. And so as her research assistant, I would travel with her and we would go to these archives. And this is before things were really digital, so you had to like take the box out and you would pull out the document you wanted to look at, and you'd have to put a placeholder in there, and you'd have to wear white gloves for photographs. And phones weren't really like good smartphones at that point. I don't think there were smartphones at all. I graduated in 2007, so I don't think we had any smartphones. So like, you couldn't take a picture with your phone. You had to go get it like copied, which just added more time to your thing. But so you took everything because you didn't know what was going to be important. So you would just tag everything. You're like, copy this entire page because it says Oppenheimer on it, and then we'll read it when we get back to New York, kind of thing. This is what taught me how to go through all of these Muay Thai magazines, is that as I'm going through, I'm just pinning, this is interesting, this is Wang Shanoi, this is about gambling, this is about throwing fights, like this kind of thing, so that I can go back through with like a finer comb later. But I just need to get through all of them and see what's in each of them first. It's like the large comb of just collecting so that you can look closer later. And I take pictures of the stuff I'm reading or of photographs, and I'll send them to who they are. So I'll send them to, you know, Joe Hong Tong Noi, or I'll send them to Crew F or Nam Sak Noi. There's this photo of him where he looks like he's like 13 years old, but I think he's 20, like 19 maybe in the photo. And I was sending stuff to Chatchai, and I would just get like a heart emoji reactor, like I don't know what they're called, where it's like meant to look like you. It's like your avatar or something. He'd send that back with like hearts all over it. So I didn't know whether he was like really interested in seeing it or not. But after meeting his partner at the gym, I sent him one, and he was like, oh my God, do you have this? And his response of actually being excited by it, I was like, I have tons of stuff of Chatchai. Do you want it? Like, I can make photographs of it. So it's really nice. So it's like the same as having the real document. We did this with Met Crick. We gave him a photograph of his like back page. And Hong was like, yes, absolutely. I want all of this, because Chatchai didn't keep anything. Part of me was like, of course he didn't keep anything, because Chatchai started when he was 4 years old. So he probably doesn't even literally have any memories before he did Muay, which is crazy. But then he also has admitted that he actually never really loved fighting. He loves teaching, and you can tell he loves teaching, and he's amazing at it. But he said he never really loved fighting. And he fought for a long time, so this is sad that he didn't really love it, because he fought for like probably 25 years or something like this. So he didn't keep anything. But I've got all of these like tabs of where I've been fighting him all in these magazines, so now I get to go through, section those out like in my research assistant way, and go get those photographs so that I can send them over to the gym, and they can create like a kind of you know, what's it called, like scrapbook but in frames kind of thing. And it makes me really happy that someone is excited about this content, because I'm excited about this. Like, every time I see anyone that I recognize, I'm like, ooh, a Wang Shanoi photo, and it's like not even, it's just him backstage or something, and like Sylvie drinking this glass of water and a ceremonial forgiveness thing. Like, I'm not gonna send that to Sylvie, but like, I'm really excited to see it. I send tons of stuff to Karahat every time I see it, just because I get really excited, and he's always like sending hearts about it and stuff. I don't think he really cares that much, but I care. So it makes me really, really excited to be like immediately able to take this like archive project that I've been working on and have it have a benefit and a place somewhere else. And hopefully that'll happen more often, you know, like I also found this beautiful, beautiful back page photo of Nung Uban after having just won a fight. And I was just at Nung Uban's gym, and he has such a beautiful collection of framed magazine covers. He has so many because he fought for a really, really long time, and he fought so many great fights. And he has them framed, and he has them all over his gym. If you go to Nung Uban's gym, you'll see them. They're gorgeous. He has his fight when he beat Chatchai. But a lot of times these photos, because they're kept in Thailand where there's lots and lots of light, they're kept in rooms that have nice light, and so they get bleached over time, and so they become pretty hard to see. And I don't remember seeing this photo that I found on this back page in his collection. I looked through his entire collection, but again, they're kind of bleached out. This one's a pretty light photo anyway, so maybe he has it, but even if he does already have it, he doesn't have this, like, what is it called, remastered or whatever it is they do to movies. So I'm gonna have that one photographed and framed and sent up to him as well, because it means something to people. Like when we gave that back page to Med Prick, he loved it. Like the way he carried around was so sweet. And now when I see like a Chatchai magazine cover or something, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, does he want that at his gym? Like Chatchai's his student. So that's something that makes me really happy. Like I'm very, very happy by this turn of events. Really, really good trip filming for the library. And just, Kevin was asking me which one was my favorite session on the way down, and I'm like, I can't choose because they were all so amazing in very, very different ways. And ultimately, I chose Lamnammoon just because I enjoy working with him so much. Like, as I was saying goodbye to him, I was telling him, every time I see you, I have so much fun. And he had this huge smile on his face, and he laughed, and he said, if ever you see me and you don't have fun, you need to go see a doctor. Which was funny and very sweet. And I think it's this thing where, like, I actually don't have Muay Thai training here in Pattaya. I pieced together my training at various different gyms. I get clinch, I get my pad work, I get sparring with Yud Pan. I have good training, but none of it is Muay Thai. Like, none of my teachers are Muay Thai. Even Yud Pan, who is Muay Thai, he doesn't really focus on that anymore. It's like he's kind of like pulled away from it in a, like, almost like he, this is a complicated thing to talk about when, like, I'm not already talking to people who know what I'm talking about. So there's a attitude hierarchy around the different styles, which is that Femur is, like, so smart and Muay Thai is really stupid. This is the kind of, like, assumption about styles. And I was talking to Lamnammoon after our session, and he had been talking about how he solved Long Sawan, what he had to do when he fought Meti, how he solved Sam Kaur, who's really big. And I said to him, I'm like, Femur fighters all love to talk about how smart they are. Like, it's true. Nung Uban made a very, very good point when I was asking him what style he liked to fight against. And he said that he can fight against any style, but the hardest style for him is actually another Femur, because you get mentally tired. Like, you have to think the entire time. Like, you really, really have to be sharp to fight another Femur. Whereas he felt like fighting like a Muay Mat or Muay Khao or something. He's like, this is simple. I know what they're going to do. Like, I don't have to think so hard. This is interesting to me. There is a, like, mental fatigue when you have to, like, strategize. And something he said is something that I've experienced as well, which is that you can lose by such tiny, tiny incremental, like, not even weapons, but just kind of like postures, or just they didn't hit you more, they just looked better kind of thing with Femur, which there's so many ways to lose. It kind of like is this amazing thing. Whereas if against a power style, any kind of power style, you lost to power, like you lost to kind of getting beaten across the ring kind of thing. But when I was talking to Lamnammoon, I was saying Femur love to think that they're the only smart fighters, but Muay Thai are also very smart fighters. Like, the good ones are very smart fighters. There are dumb Femur too. Like, I've seen dumb Femur fighters. And Lamnammoon was like, absolutely. Like, if we're not smart, how are we beating Femur fighters? And they beat Femur fighters, and it's not just like muscling. They actually strategically get to this point and, like, go ahead. And I can't remember. as I'm talking about being smart, I can't remember how I got on this subject, what I was talking about. How I don't really train with Muay Thai. So I think that a lot of people who follow me, who don't train in Thailand, and bless you, I know you guys are really interested in Thailand's Muay Thai, and the reason you think about these things is because it's an interest of yours, and I'm not in any way disparaging that. I love that people hear something I'm talking about and get way into it. But I get questions like, at what point do I choose my style? Or like, when do you know what your style is? And I'm like, to some degree you can't choose your style because it's natural. It's like you have like kind of an inclination, and then you can sharpen it, and then you can add other things to it. But some people just are not strong. Some people just are not fast. Some people just are not long. Like, your style is somewhat dictated by your anatomy, but there are exceptions to every rule and this kind of thing. But when you talk about styles, like when you're talking about these fighters who have styles like Lamnammoon, Dieselnoy, Karahat, who's just like Yodfimur, this kind of thing, there's like a kind of culture to it, in the sense of like, if you're from the South, you immediately understand other people from the South. And it's not like you don't like people in the center or the north or the east or anything like that. It's not like, oh, I don't understand these people. It's not like that. It's like you have a tribe, like you have a people. And those people from the South, you're like, oh, we have this thing. Like, you just immediately get along. That's what it's like with your style, if you're like very strongly that style. There are people who are kind of like in between that might not super identify either way, and that's fine too. But I don't have Muay Thai. And so Kevin was like, I could see when you were with Lamnammoon, he's like, I could see you're with your people. Like, you just get this lightness. Like, I just have this joy of like being with my people. It's a little bit like, I'm an immigrant in Thailand. I don't love being around other Americans. But I speak English to Kevin every single day. Like, I don't have this like having to come back to home base thing. But when I lived in Germany, my roommate, Misha, refused to speak English to me, even though he speaks English, because he wanted me to learn German. And so I was speaking German, only German all the time. I was reading German, I was going to university and listening to German all the time. And the only time I could speak English was when I would call my mom, which calling from Germany is very expensive. And so it wasn't very often. And it just had this kind of like, oh, it feels good to speak English, just for not having to like put effort into it. And it's a little bit like that, in this like, I get to speak my language, I get to be around people who kind of just, you know, you're a Thai in Australia and you get to hang out with another Thai all of a sudden, and you're like, oh man, now we can just kind of like, there's like a little bit of a casual thing. And it's not like you don't like other Australian people, it's just people, I think people know what I'm talking about. So I was very happy just to have a like hour of training real Muay Thai, hanging out with Muay Thai, experiencing Muay Thai, doing Muay Thai, fixing the things that are wrong with my Muay Thai, because I have some significant basic problems because I don't train with Muay Thai trainers, and just felt really good. So I'm excited to put more of Lamnammoon in the Muay Thai library, just because he's wonderful. I'm very excited to put Nung Uban in there. He was wonderful. I love talking to him. I talked to him for like an hour outside of the training, and Kevin filmed some of it, but Kevin was just sitting there smiling. Kevin is so wonderful. Like, he doesn't speak Thai, and he just will sit there and let me like gab with someone for an hour and not be like tapping his watch or anything. He's very lovely. We got Anantasak, Fighter of the Year in 1997. He has been out of Muay Thai for a really long time. He trains the Thai national boxing team, the amateur team. And he was a little bit like, I don't really know what to show you. I haven't done Muay Thai in a really long time. And we worked around, it was no problem at all. But when I started talking to him about him putting his fists on people as a Thai honey, as a Muay Thai fighter, the smile he got on his face, remembering the like bashing someone in the face with an elbow or a punch in Muay Thai, was wonderful. I just really loved that. He has a great smile. And then we also went to Santi Gym, which was a little bit of a like, we didn't know what that was, and we just kind of rolled up. So this is kind of like real Kai Muay training, which I'm really excited to add into the library, because that also very much is a preserve the legacy kind of thing, because there really aren't Kai Muays accessible that much anymore. Like, they're everywhere, they still exist, but they're harder to find now in places that there used to be lots of them. We have a puppy situation going on here. Oh, don't bite my camera. You guys are so big now. Hi, Mama. Say hi. Yeah, you're the bad one. Ow. Got bit on the butt. All right, I gotta go because these guys are nipping at me. But I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm stoked about many, many things. I'm gonna pet these dogs. And thank you guys for listening.